we just played out the sequence of events coming out of those videos once again for our viewers. Now let's break down some crucial details in terms of what is the capability as far as these drones that we saw in these videos. Now what these drones can do is they can have an easy access as far as the Indian territory is concerned, and all of this testing is happening at night, so it's going to be very difficult to detect them as well. Now these drones can travel about 60 kilometers both sides, so that's a long distance that they in fact can cover. What we're also now picking up is this is ISIS designs are getting far more sinister. Exactly what we were discussing with Anand, that none of this is possible without the aid or the help as far as the ISI is concerned. Pak proxies can step up their attacks, and they already are if you go by the kind of testing that is taking place. Recently, as we were pointing out, they've already done it. One terrorist in fact has been dropped in Punjab. The larger question is how many more do they plan to drop? How many more drones do they plan to use going forward? And that has become a real worry as far as the Indian authorities are concerned. At this point, let's also now bring in our guest to try and understand what is the way forward. We have Dr. Monica Verma, strategic affairs expert. We also have Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force and defense expert. Good to have both of you with us here on CNN News 18. Dr. Monica Verma, I'd like to begin the conversation with you. This is for the first time that viewers are seeing videos where you can see Lashkar terrorists testing the possibility of dropping human beings, dropping terrorists to try and get into India. First, what do you make of the kind of testing that is happening? This is something that Indian agencies have been speaking for a while.
I believe this is a Network 18 exclusive, and fantastic work. Congratulations for unearthing so much things of which are of value to the intelligence establishment. I think till now we have seen all sort of infiltration bids by Pakistan. It has used drones at very extensively, especially from the COVID time when things were very difficult for the entire world. They've been using drones. So in the last 3 years, the use of drones has actually come up. And one state that has suffered the most is Punjab, because relatively, the terrain in Punjab is very conducive for drones to land in India. And these drones have so far only carried arms or maybe drugs, or they have carried guns, or sometimes, even vans of cash as well. So there's been a lot of cash that has been transferred from across the border. This is the first time that drones have been used.
Yeah. Okay, we seem to have lost that line with Dr. Monica Verma. We'll just try and reestablish that connection. But I want to bring in Group Captain also in the conversation. Group Captain, the timing of when all of these videos that are now being put out by our network, this is at a time when that encounter in Anantnag is still on. We've lost 3 of our brave hearts, and combing operations are still on. Army sources also now telling us here at CNN News 18 that this is coming at a point that 1 Jawan is missing and 1 possibly is injured. What do you make of Pakistan's new strategy? As I was asking Dr. Monica Verma also a short while ago, none of this is possible without the kind of support and aid that's coming in from the ISI.
Oh yes, there is no doubt that all these terror activities can take place in Kashmir only because Pakistan and ISI are behind the scene. They are providing huge amount of administrative and logistics backup support to these terrorists. These terrorists are being trained in a very, very highly professional manner by ISI. There is no doubt that ISI, Army and Pakistan establishment wants to create maximum amount of confusion, damage, and probably demoralized. They are thinking that they will demoralize the Indian forces. They want to do it now because of many reasons. Most important being that Pakistan itself is passing through a period of uncertainty. They have political instability. They have massive financial problems of their own, and world has decided to ignore them.
Yeah. I believe Dr. Monica Verma is now back with us. Doctor, go ahead. We lost your connection a short while ago.
Yes, yeah. So Ridhima, I'm back, and the point that I was making is that earlier, they were transferring all sort of drugs and arms and ammunitions, but this is the first time that they are practicing to literally, use drone to infiltrate people into India, and I think this is a worrying trend. because but then also I'm someone skeptic of this technology, because I was just reading about it. World over, many countries are trying to have drones that can on a very practical basis
Sure.
actually use to transfer human beings. And I don't think Pakistan, with the kind of technology and the kind of economic base that country has, they have perfected that technology yet. How successful would they be? Because I was following your own reports, and I was being shown that 60 kilometers on both sides of the
True.
border, these drones are capable of operating. But would they be successful in carrying a human being who's like 80, 90 kgs? That is something that still needs to be figured out. But a
Yeah.
message that is going from this, which is coming from all what Pakistan is trying to do, is that despite being in the worst possible economic
Yeah.
situation, despite having so many fronts which are open to fight a war on, whether it is TTP, whether it is the Pak occupied Kashmir, so many protests are taking place. Pakistan is in a turmoil.
Sure.
Despite of all this, one thing that Pakistan is not able to give up on is in sponsoring terror against India. And
Yeah.
while the encounter
Dr.
takes
Monica
place in
Verma, I
Anand,
apologize for interrupting. I just want to focus on something that you only pointed out a short while ago, which is how feasible is this plan going to be by Pakistan, which means how capable are these drones to, in fact, take the weight of a human being and then drop him either in a water body, which could be a pond or a stream, because this is something that will need a lot of funding as well. Right now, we're getting confirmation that Pakistan, in fact, has dropped one terrorist using this drone technology. The question is, how many more do they plan to use? But as far as this technology is concerned, in the past, we've seen drone droppings being made either for drugs or money or for other equipment, but we've never seen the droppings of human beings that have taken place. So, how feasible is this, in fact, going forward?
I think many countries are trying to make progress in this area. They've been trying to conduct research that can actually, feasibly take human beings using drones. But I don't think Pakistan is able to succeed in a long time, because you rightly said that it will require a lot of funding.
Yeah.
Many countries have tried to do it. In fact, in India also, I think Varuna is a drone that we have developed, but even that has not been able to launch on a commercial basis. It's in a very so to say, a primitive stage. It's We
Sure.
are just initiating that kind of a research. So carrying 5-6 kgs, or maybe a few bundles of notes, or maybe a few arms is easy. And drone infiltration has definitely increased. We've seen the imprint in Punjab especially is the highest. But using that to actually transfer human beings across the border, and also, it's not a question of just dropping them down. It's also the question of picking them up.
Absolutely.
Once they are in our territory, then they can easily be, intercepted by
Yeah.
our defense forces, and we can actually make them talk. I
Yeah.
don't think Pakistan would be willing to take that sort of a risk, because if infiltration bit is not successful, or maybe if
Yeah.
we intercept one of the terrorists, we will simply put them in jail and torture them to life and ask them the kind of secrets that we need. I don't think Pakistan would be willing to take that risk, because
Okay.
in training a terrorist, it takes a lot of amount of energy and also money.
Yeah.
Training these people to wage jihad against the Indian state, it's a lot
Yeah.
of
Well,
money,
that
it's
of
a lot
course
of.
remains a reality that they will need a lot of funding, they will need a lot of money and a regular cash flow to come in as far as these drone plan is concerned. And we all know the situation of Pakistan's economy, a country's economy that still continues to be in the doldrums. But I believe Group Captain is also now back with us. Group Captain, essentially what I want to understand are two things. One, what do you make of Pakistan's strategy now wanting to use drones? Secondly, I want to understand from an Indian perspective. If you look at the first video that we put out, it was a video where the testing was happening at the night time, and this has been done strategically so that it makes it even more difficult to detect as far as the Indian forces are concerned. What is the kind of counter strategy that we'll need from the Indian forces if these drones need to be detected?
Oh yes. Firstly, Pakistan is resorting to use of these drones primarily because, as far as LOC is concerned, it is becoming very difficult for them to cross LOC, because at many places we have done successful physical boundary marking fencing, and our troops, army as well as BSF on LOC have become more and more alert. So it is
True.
becoming difficult for them to infiltrate so easily. One odd infiltration case does take place, but it is easier for them to send money, ammunition, weapons to
Sure.
India across the international boundary or across LOC by use of these drones.
Okay.
As far